Revelation chapter 4 verse 2 says, "Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne." The Apostle John, having heard the trumpet-like voice of Christ calling him to ascend, is instantly transported into the heavenly realm. There is no delay, no gradual transition. John is immediately in the Spirit, his earthly limitations stripped away so he can behold the heavenly reality. This sudden transformation reminds us of the promise in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 51 through 52 that we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. What John experiences here prefigures the rapture of the church, the moment when the redeemed are caught up to meet the Lord and to witness his glory unveiled. The first thing John sees is a throne. Not just any throne, but the throne, the central reality of heaven. This throne is not symbolic or abstract, it is literal, and it is occupied. This throne represents the absolute sovereignty of God, who rules and reigns over all creation. Psalm chapter 103 verse 19 declares, "The Lord has established his throne in heaven, and his kingdom rules over all." The throne in heaven is not subject to the whims of men or the shifting tides of history. It is fixed, immovable, and eternal. The phrase, "one sat on the throne," is critical. This is not a vacant seat of authority. It is actively occupied by the eternal and living God. John does not describe the details of the one on the throne yet, but the focus is clear. God is seated in absolute power. This is the same God who declares in Isaiah chapter 46, verses 9 through 10, "I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done." His sovereignty encompasses all of time, from the creation of the heavens and the earth to the consummation of history. The fact that John is in the Spirit is also significant. No fleshly eyes can behold the glory of God and live, as stated in Exodus chapter 33, verse 20. To see this vision, John is taken beyond the constraints of his mortal body and enabled to experience the spiritual reality of heaven. This should remind us of the truth in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, that we walk by faith, not by sight. What is unseen now will one day be revealed, and the throne of God will be the ultimate and undeniable reality for all people. This throne is the center of all heavenly activity, and it is the place from which all authority and judgment flow. Revelation chapter 20 verse 11 will later describe a great white throne before which the heavens and the earth flee away. This same throne in chapter 4 is now revealed as the seat of glory, holiness, and majesty, and it will become the throne of judgment upon a rebellious world. The throne of God demands reverence, awe, and submission. It is a reminder that our lives are not our own, that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, as declared in Philippians chapter 2 verses 10 through 11. The question before us is this: are we living as though this throne is real? Do we acknowledge God as the sovereign king over our lives, or are we clinging to the illusion of our own autonomy? John is brought face to face with the throne, and the vision of it leaves no room for half-hearted devotion or self-centered priorities. This verse strikes at the heart of modern indifference to the majesty of God. Too often, men live as though there is no throne in heaven, no divine authority to whom they must give an account. But the reality of the throne confronts every soul with the absolute holiness and sovereignty of God. It demands a response. Will you bow before this throne now in worship, or will you face it later in judgment? The throne is not just a fixture of heaven, it is the reality that defines all existence. It is occupied, it is immovable, and it is eternal. The one who sits upon it will not be mocked, and he will not be ignored. Are you ready to stand before him?